Today I want to talk about magic, or actually the spelling of magic. Sometimes you see it spelled M-A-G-I-C, and sometimes M-A-G-I-C-K. You might even see it spelled with a J instead of a G, but that's less common and not really what I want to talk about today. So let's talk about magic with and without that K. What gives? Why the difference? Is there a difference when the K is added at the end? Some people think yes, other people think no. Some people think of magic without a K as a sleight of hand trick like that a magician uses at a child's birthday party. Those people are usually the ones who spell magic with a K. They want to differentiate between the magic that they practice and sleight of hand tricks. Personally, I spell magic without a K. I used to say the spelling didn't matter, but now I think that it does. Before I get into why it matters, let's talk about why I used to say it was just a preference. Magic, no matter how you spell it, is a mindset. It's what you believe it is. Magic is manipulating your environment to get a desired outcome. But manipulation in this case is not bad. We tend to think of manipulation as bad, but for what I'm talking about in terms of magic, it's not. In this case, manipulation is taking what you have and transmuting it into what you want. Kind of like the whole alchemy thing with turning lead into gold. Except we're not talking about physical lead here and physical gold. We're talking about spiritual, energetic lead and spiritual, energetic gold. But anyway, it's taking what you have and transmuting it into what you want. Magic is neither bad nor good. It's neither black nor white. It's neither dark nor light. Magic just is. It's what you make of it. If you don't believe in magic, then you aren't magical. And if you do believe, then you are. Now let's talk about that K and why I don't use it. Now when I'm writing something out and I spell magic without a K, everybody knows what I mean because of the context of what I'm talking about. So why does it matter? For me, it's the principle of the spelling, and some people choose to agree with me and some people don't. And I don't hold anything against anybody who chooses to spell magic with a K. I personally just can't do it, and I think it does matter, especially for Jewish witches and witches of color. Now this is where I'm going to talk about Aleister Crowley. Crowley was a celebrated and well-known occultist of his time and the founder of Thelema, an esoteric philosophy and religion that rests on the will of the person. Now, the spelling of magic with a K did not originate with Crowley. It's a much older spelling, and it's considered an archaic spelling, and it's kind of hard to really pinpoint when the spelling of magic with a K was first used. It's very old, but Crowley embraced and promoted the spelling of magic with a K in his ceremonial magic and writings. He was extremely influential in popularizing the spelling of magic with a K, and he remains one of the first people that comes to mind when most people think about the history of that spelling. Now, he began using the archaic spelling of magic in order to differentiate the occult and ceremonial magic that he used from stage magic, which was highly popular at that time. And I mentioned that earlier. People still use the spelling for that reason. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with him doing it. I don't have a problem with people doing it today. I, however, do not think it's necessary, and I wonder how many people actually know the history behind Crowley when they choose to use that spelling because of him. Some people don't know about Crowley, and so they use the spelling magic with a K because they see it online and it's kind of popular, and so they do it. Other people know about Crowley, and because he used it, they use it. I just wonder how many people know about him and the connections that he had with other things, which I will be talking about in a minute. But anyway, Aleister Crowley has often been called the most evil man on earth. His personal lifestyle was certainly considered evil at the time, although it's not so much today. He also enjoyed controversy very much and would go out of his way to sound and appear more controversial than he may have otherwise been viewed. But one thing that is not questionable is his racism and his anti-Semitism. His anti-Semitic approach is quite ironic to me, considering that he studied and embraced Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, and he incorporated Kabbalah into Thelema. So I think it's awful funny that he hated Jews but took our mysticism and made it part of his religion. Talk about cultural appropriation, but whatever. Now, I'm not going to go into depth about his racism or his anti-Semitism. You can find it quite easily with an online search. The evidence is everywhere. But I'm going to link a few articles in the show notes to get you started if you're interested in reading about it. And like I said, these are just to get you started. There are many more. So feel free to take a deep dive into the anti-Semitic and racist writings of Aleister Crowley if you so choose. It's not pretty. It's quite ugly. And in 2021, I would personally like to see everybody stop using the K spelling of Magick that he so frequently popularized, but that's not for me to decide. You can do what you want, but I do think it matters. Do I think that Aleister Crowley was the most evil man on earth? No, that's not for me to say. I can't say one way or the other. And I don't automatically dismiss anything associated with him because he was just a man, albeit a racist man, albeit an anti-Semitic man, but he was just a man. So why do I refuse to add the K to Magick? Because the use of an arcane spelling today is directly related to him and his teachings, and I don't think it's necessary to differentiate spiritual magic from stage magic. If I thought that it was necessary, I could see using it, but I don't think that it's necessary. I choose to believe that people are smart enough to know the difference when we are speaking of magic, what we mean by that. I choose to believe that people are intelligent enough to listen to the context of what I'm saying or writing and know if I'm talking about sleight of hand tricks or spiritual witchy magic. And because I don't think it's necessary to use a special spelling for people to know what I'm talking about, I think it does matter which spelling I use. If there was no history of racism or no history of anti-Semitism behind the spelling, then maybe it would just be a personal preference. But that history is there, and because I don't think it's necessary to know what I'm talking about, then I think it does matter how I choose to spell it. So I choose not to put the K in Magick. And I am showing that I don't agree with Aleister Crowley's racist beliefs and that I don't stand with his teachings. And again, if someone chooses to spell Magick with a K, that's fine. That's on them. Maybe they don't know. Maybe when they learn, they'll change the way they think and spell the word. Maybe not. That's fine. You do you. I'll do me. So if you choose to spell Magick that way, more power to you. I do not hold anything against you. You have every right and free will to do that. For me personally, I can't use a K in the spelling of Magick because of Aleister Crowley. And that's my reasoning. So I hope you learned something today, and I hope you think about it, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. It's neither here nor there. This podcast is about me to share my views and thoughts on Magick from a Jewish perspective. So there you go, and have a great week.